In the absence of a deal to prop up lenders, at least yet, or fix the underlying problems, Senator McCain today was asked why he has not suspended his campaign again after his previous suspension failed to yield the results. He suggested to our Kelly O'Donnell that a repeat suspension is not off the table.
Well, I'll do whatever is necessary, and I'm pleased to have participated in trying to help this process along. I'll continue to do that, but whether it means coming back to Washington or whatever, I'll do that.
It should come as little surprise if McCain does resuspend his campaign. It was only September 1st when Hurricane Gustav forced the senator to deny us the sight of President Bush and Vice President Cheney campaigning for him on day one of the Republican convention in person. No such suspension nor campaign alteration was necessary for Hurricane Ike. If you go back to 2000, it turned out McCain threatened to drop out of a debate then too, caving to at the last minute to participate via video. That not enough to save a campaign that started strongly in March of 1999 when he shot up in the polls after announcing that the start of war in Kosovo a week earlier meant that, yes, he had to suspend the official launch of his campaign. Then he did interview after interview to assure everyone that winning the war was more important than winning the election. Let's turn now to Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas, former communications director on the Edwards campaign. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Well, this may not be an easily yes or no question, but does McCain think that voters are total idiots, that nobody's going to catch on to this after 8 years of it, this sort of cynical and cyclical martyrdom addiction?
You know, to be honest, I'm not sure the McCain campaign or John McCain knows or has any idea what voters think anymore. I mean, I think strategically, and if you look at current events, they seem to have taken over this campaign. Strategically, they seem to have lost focus, erratic behavior, an erratic message. In current events-wise, I mean, you know, they seem to have completely missed the boat in terms of how serious this crisis is. And I actually think the debate in particular has shell-shocked them. I think they thought they did well. Voters said they didn't. And now I think they're struggling to find out how to talk to voters, and they just don't have a very good message right now.
Is it possible that this is sincere? And I don't mean it as a complimentary use of that term. I mean, is there a sense that maybe there is another aspect besides political stuntmanship here, that maybe McCain loves to present himself as sacrificing himself or his personal interest because that is a role that he has embraced in this movie of his life that he's acting out?
I mean, it's definitely a narrative that they've been pushing their entire campaign. John McCain is a hero, and he clearly is a hero in terms of his military service. I think the problem is, in particular, in terms of this bailout crisis, you know, the cavalry doesn't usually take 24 hours to get from New York to D.C., and you don't usually stop for a fine dining restaurant. And I think that's the problem here. The narrative, I think, has replaced smart strategy and smart messaging. And what they should be thinking about is, what are the policy positions that we could be telling to voters, convincing voters that we have the right ideas? I think it tells you something that they're focusing on the narrative and less so on the policy.
When John Adams might have gotten faster from New York to Washington than Senator McCain did, I think there's a problem there. But whatever is at the heart of this impulse here, whether it is addiction to melodrama or cynical stuntmanship, what would it tell us? What sort of crystal ball does it provide us about the way McCain would govern as president?
Well, I think the way you have to, if you look at the last week or so in terms of his erratic behavior and the erratic behavior of the campaign, I think one word to describe it is frightening. I think what the American people want, in particular during a crisis, is a president that stays focused, is calm, and really understands the scope of the problem. And I think what you've seen from the campaign in terms of their behavior, this notion of suspending the campaign, not suspending the campaign, interjecting themselves in this bailout discussions, taking themselves out of these bailout discussions, is a campaign that is almost in chaotic panic. And it doesn't calm fears, it actually creates them. And I think it's really hurt their campaign.
Yeah, but when that Batman signal goes up in the sky, he's ready. Chris Kofinas, Democratic strategist. Thank you for your time, Chris.